Hello, Yosemite Lakes Community Church. This morning, I'm at a grave site, and I did a funeral. I had the honor to do a funeral this morning, and for funerals are always challenging. I've lost count of how many I have done at this point. Not that I was ever keeping count. I'm reminded when I do a funeral of a few along the way that were incredibly hard, including one of a high schooler that I cried uncontrollably trying to get through that tragic time. But it also reminds me how blessed we are as Christians, because whenever I'm at a funeral, whenever I do these, I get to talk about the Christian. And if you're not a Christian, I don't even know how you go to a funeral if you're not a Christian, but I digress. But to talk about the next life. And it reminds me of this weekend as we talked about the first miracle of God, the water into wine. There were so many examples of the Lamb of God returning for his bride. And if you didn't get a chance to watch that message, go back and watch it. It's online, it's on the website, it's on YouTube, it's so many places. But the one that really got me was the Jewish weddings. They didn't know exactly, the bride didn't know exactly when the groom was going to return. So this was the point that really captured me. So I'll just give it to you in this quick few minutes. But the bride waited until the groom was done making their future home. Once the future was home, then as it was Jewish, it was usually a year-long engagement or longer, but they didn't know exactly how long. He would send for his bride, and he would send groomsmen or his army, his troops, his friends, and they would go and they would call out for the bride. They would get to the city and they would call out for the bride. They would call at the house for the bride. Your groom has prepared your place. You can now come. And then that's when the wedding would take place. That's when the celebration would take place. And I just thought that's exactly what we're told Jesus is going to do. Our Lamb of God returns for his bride, which is the church. He returns in a triumphant trumpet on the clouds moment, calling. We don't know exactly when it's going to be, but he's prepared a place for us, and he's ready to take us home. I can't wait. And every time I do a funeral, I'm like, that day's coming. It's coming sooner than we can imagine. If you're watching this and you don't know God, you haven't made that decision, you don't want to be at a funeral, especially not your own, and not have made this commitment to Christ. So I send this out to you guys just as a reminder and hopefully a challenge of get right with God. Do it today, because our bride, or no, we're the bride. Our groom is coming back for us very, very soon, and I can't wait.